Welcome. What up, everybody? This is Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach. I got my main man, Adi Wally Apolli. What's going on, Adi?
I'm fantastic.
Yes, we're doing another quarantine edition of Spectator Sporting. We got a special guest in the building, the one and only Mr. Dante, here to talk draft picks with us. How you doing, Dante?
Hey, fellas, what's going on? Man, feeling good.
Man, feeling good. Happy to see y'all, man. Make sure everybody out there is staying safe. Big time draft over the weekend, NFL draft. They actually did it. They didn't postpone it. It happened, and we are going to focus on the Chicago Bears. So the Bears, for this year, did not have a first-round pick. But in that trade with Khalil Mack, they ended up getting 2 second-round picks. And with the 43rd overall pick, the Bears went heavy need. I think this was the most need pick they might have had in the whole draft. Tight end from Notre Dame, Cole Kmet. Dante, what's your thoughts about Cole Kmet?
Cole Kmet, he was rated the number 1 tight end on everybody's draft board. So he's a guy that can pretty much plug in right now. He can either start or contribute to the team right away. In my opinion, I probably would have went with a tight end maybe a little bit later. I probably would have went with a different position at that pick, but I definitely actually like him a lot. It's going to help relieve some stress for the quarterbacks. We're going to get to go to some 12 personnel, a little bit more, 2 tight ends in at the same time to take some of the stress off for Trubisky and Nick Foles. So he's definitely going to help us out a lot.
Absolutely. A tight end, tight end was one of the biggest struggles of the Bears last season. Adi, what's your opinion of Cole Kmet?
Yeah, well, you know what? He was amongst tight ends in his class. He was number 1 in weight, and he was the number 2 in height, and he was number 1 in the vertical jump. So the man is big and athletic. And now on the field, he had very good games against Georgia, USC, and Stanford. Very relevant, very high competition, which is much more relevant than what Adam Shaheen did against Saginaw Valley and Grand Valley State and Ohio Dominican. All right, so this guy went against some top-notch competition. Now, since Mike Ditka left, the Bears only had 1 tight end to gain over 900 yards in a season. That's Martellus Bennett. All right, wow. And then you get that dumbass Greg Olsen trade. We thought we traded him to Carolina. Then we thought Zach Miller might be okay, but he broke his leg in New Orleans. And you got my man Burton. He went ahead and quit on the Bears in the playoffs. So Jimmy Graham is taller and bigger than Cole Kmet. All right, so the young guy can look at him. I don't know if Jimmy Graham's going to mentor Cole Kmet, but if not, he can still observe the man and figure out how he became a perennial Pro Bowler at 6'7", 265 pounds. All right, he's a very big guy. Now, Kmet attacks contested passes. He attacks the ball in the air when he's being contested very well, and he adjusts to off-target throws pretty good. So the Bears had to make this pick. After they went ahead and released Burton, I knew if Kmet fell to them in the draft, they was going to take it.
Yeah, the Bears definitely needed a tight end, but I'm with Dante on this. I felt like they might have jumped too early for him. I think he might have still been available, but nonetheless, he was the number 1 rated tight end in the Bears. They felt like that was their guy, and that's what they needed. The Bears now have 10 tight ends on the roster right now. Now, of course, we all know that's going to change. I'm pretty sure that's going to be dropped down tremendously in the upcoming weeks. But that's 10 tight ends for the Bears. But obviously, he's a second-round pick. He was a first one. He's brought there to start. Him and Jimmy Graham will be paired up with the tight end position. Let's talk about their second pick in the second round, the number 50 of overall, which I think may have been a steal of the draft, one of the steals. Jaylon Johnson from Utah, cornerback. Once again, this was a need for the Bears. I know we picked up some cornerbacks in the offseason. I know we picked up the guy from Canada. I know we picked up the other guy from the Steelers, former first-round pick. But Jaylon Johnson has a lot of tools. Tall, athletic, very physical, likes to tackle. It's been with Utah, and Utah played on a strong Utah defense. So, Adi, I'm going to start with you. What's your opinion of Jaylon Johnson?
Well, yeah, Jaylon Johnson. Well, the thing is, right there at pick number 50, wide receiver Denzel Mims was there. I really wanted Denzel Mims from Baylor. He's now a Jet. Also, strong safety Jeremy Chin was there. So the Bears must really think very highly of Deion Bush. They passed on Jeremy Chin. And so also, I couldn't believe my guy, running back J.K. Dobbins, was right there at number 50 for the Bears. I was really hoping they picked him up, but they passed on him. So we got Jaylon Johnson, and he's looking like a high-risk, high-reward type of guy.
Yeah.
Like, despite playing last season with a torn labrum in his right shoulder, he was second-team All-American, and also none of the 6 cornerbacks drafted ahead of him had more career interceptions than him. Jaylon Johnson has 7. He loves to get very physical with wide receivers. He closes very fast on receivers when the ball's in the air. And if he can stay healthy, him and Kyle Fuller can be a nice duo together to get some coverage sacks for a front 7 that don't need that much time. All right, so if you got receivers that can't get open, then Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn and them gonna have a ball with Akeem Hicks and everything like that. So that's the bright side. I ain't gonna front. I didn't want him. I wanted J.K. Dobbins, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the Bears definitely went with once again. That was a big, but there was a need, and also this second round, it was like first round talent, a lot of first round talent in the second round. So this was a very deep draft. Dante, what's your opinion of Jaylon Johnson going to the Bears?
Man, yeah, a lot of good cornerbacks going off the board in that first round. But just like you said last time, Zach, the first round and the second round is not really too far off as far as talent. The second round, you're gonna pretty much get some first round talent type guys. It's only so many guys you can get in the first round. So Jaylon Johnson is definitely one of those guys. Right now, it's looking like he's going to be the starter next to Fuller. He's got pretty good size, a little bit bigger than Fuller, so he can match up with some of those bigger wide receivers that we might be going against. But this is kind of right on the head of where I predicted last time we talked with that second pick of the second round to be a corner. So definitely, I think it's going to pay out because it's somebody that's going to play right now, somebody that's going to contribute right away. Is going to be a starter for us. He's got good closing speed. He's got pretty much everything that you're looking for in a corner. I wouldn't say that he, was the top corner in the draft, but he definitely was at least top 5 corner in the draft. So he's got really good speed. So he's definitely going to be he's definitely going to do well for us.
Absolutely. Let's hope he does. I do like the talent. The talent is there for him. So if he can come in and, like Adi, you said, he had the injury problems. If he's over there and he's healthy, and with the Bears D-line front 7, he could be a great addition to Kyle Fuller, no doubt. So Ryan Pace, he just couldn't help himself. We talked about this last time. We debated. We had a debate about it. Was Ryan Pace going to trade up? Was he going to do it? We didn't know. I mean, I don't think none of us thought he would not, because that's just Ryan Pace. That's just what he does. Like, he can't there sit still. But he did. The Bears traded 2021 fourth rounder to the Vikings to trade up for him in the 5th round, Mr. Trevis Gipson. Adi, tell us about Trevis Gipson.
Well, yeah. Gipson, he played defensive end and outside linebacker in Tulsa's 3-3-5 defense. But with the Bears, he can say goodbye to defensive end. He's going to be an outside linebacker in the 3-4 defense with the Bears. Now, in his last 2 years at Tulsa, he had 24 tackles for loss, 12 sacks, and a whopping 8 forced fumbles. This man know how to get that ball out of the quarterback's hands and the running back's hands, okay? So, but the man, he does need to work on his closing speed. He needs to work on that, but he does have an effective bull rush. Now, and he doesn't let big offensive linemen bully him around in the run game. I like that about him. And so now Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack has a nice backup behind them to develop and learn. And in the offseason, the Bears did sign Barcavius Mingo as the backup. They re-signed Isaiah Irvin. So Khalil Mack and my man Robert Quinn can get a breather while this young guy Gipson learns on the job. He has some great guys to learn from, and he does need some pass rush moves and things like that. So he's going to develop, and he's going to back them guys up pretty well.
Yeah, it seems like he's very athletic and has the traits. It's just about developing him. So this might be considered a project, but with his athleticism, you could try a lot of things with him. Dante, I want to tell me about cornerback Kindle Vildor from Georgia Southern.
Man, I like this guy a lot. Just from where we chose him in the draft, it was just kind of a weird spot. I think it's kind of where we got him. I think with Jaylon Johnson, as far as with all the other cornerbacks that we got on the roster, I think that was good enough for what we had team-wise. But if I'm just going to talk about Vildor, he's a little bit smaller guy, 5'10", 190, but he's really strong. He had bench press 22 reps, 225 at the combine. So for a cornerback, that's really good strength. He was like tied for second most as far as corners, and he's got really good speed. He's got 4.4 speed. He had a really good vertical jump with a 39.5 vertical jump. So he's very athletic, and just watching some film on him, he got some toughness to him. He's not going to back down from competition. Georgia Southern is a little bit of a smaller school. They went up against some big time competition with Clemson over his last 2 years where he was there. He went up. He actually had an interception against Clemson in that game, and he went up against some other big schools and did really well in those games too. So he doesn't want to shy away. He's gonna line up against the best guy and compete. For where he's gonna be at with us, he's gonna be pretty much competing for the nickelback spot on the team, because Fuller and Johnson going to be the guys that most likely start. So that nickelback spot is basically going to be between three guys. It's going to be Duke Shelley, Buster Screen, and him pretty much. So he's got a good chance to win that spot. But because we have so much depth there now, we're not looking. We already picked the guy that was going to be our other starter. I think it was just kind of a weird spot in the draft to get him, but he's definitely going to compete, and he's going to be on special teams. He's a solid tackler. He comes up and and fills those outside gaps really good. So he's definitely going to compete for us on special teams. But I think we would have been okay not picking another corner. Probably could have went with something else right there at that pick.
Yeah, I thought so too. But the Bears, they seem like this draft, they want to get needs. And they're going for depth. It seems like they want depth. Because last year they did have a problem with injuries last year. So I think they're trying to, get players where in case someone gets injured, they can step in. Ryan Pace made not only one trade, he made another trade. Once again, Ryan Pace just cannot help himself, and he went and traded for wide receiver Darnell Mooney from Tulane. The Bears traded 2 6-rounders and a 7th round pick to the Eagles to trade up for him, and the Bears got a 7th round in return. I think what Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy attracted them most about Darnell Mooney was his speed. He got top-notch speed. 4.38 40-yard dash, just blew it off the doors right there. They look at him as a replacement for Taylor Gabriel. They feel like he can step right in and play right away. Matt Nagy praised him more than his speed. He said he's a great route runner. He knows how to set up his opponents. He knows how to set up his defenders. And he's a very confident guy himself. He said he wants to show the world, he wants to show the NFL that he can do. He's more than a speedster. He can run multiple routes, and he can be a complete wide receiver. Now, there is a downside to this. He's only 5'10", 176 yards, so that's something to pay attention to. He may have to get a little bit bigger, but he did have a good year in 2018, 993 yards and 8 touchdowns. Seems like a good fit for the Chicago Bears in the way they like to play offense. Anybody want to chime in on that?
Well, yeah, man, there was reports, Mel Kiper, Matt Miller, some experts, report that the man drops the ball a little too much, all right? He needs to work on his hands this offseason, get that together. And like you said, Roach, put on about 10 to 15 pounds. He's about $175 right now. But, Taylor Gabriel wasn't that big either, right? So, but I would like for him to put on at least 10 pounds.
Dante, any problem with Ryan Pace trading up in the 5th round, trading doing multiple trades for the 5th round again this season?
You know what? We definitely needed to get a wide receiver. I think that it was a wide receiver heavy draft. So I think I like the guy that we got, but I think it was some better wide receivers that we could have got a little bit earlier. But we definitely had to get a speedster guy, and that was what we did. So the timing of that was really good because we couldn't let it go too much longer without getting a good quality receiver. So that was actually a good place to do it at that time in the draft.
Okay, absolutely. The Bears, so which mean they traded their 6th rounder, so now they go to the 7th round. They draft offensive tackle Arlington Hambright. Adi, tell us about Arlington Hambright.
Well, he started his career at he was at JUCO, but then he ended up at Oklahoma State. Then he ended up at Colorado. The guy is 6'4", 305 pounds. He's a very versatile offensive lineman. He can play offensive guard or he can play offensive tackle. Okay, most experts believe that he's going to be an offensive guard, but he says he can play every position. So that means Rashad Coward, he got some competition for that backup guard position. And the Bears this offseason, they signed offensive tackle Jason Spriggs from Green Bay. He was a 2nd-round pick in 2016. So there's competition. There's some depth coming up at the on the offensive line. Now, this guy was also nominated for the Pac-12 offensive lineman of the week 3 times this past season. So the guy, we'll see what he does with the Bears in training camp.
That was a 226 overall pick. The Bears also had the 227th overall pick, and they picked another offensive tackle, Chavious Simmons out of Tennessee State. Here's a guy, this is going to be a project. I don't know if he's going to be on the team. He's going to be fighting for a position, but he is 6'5", 315 pounds. He's touted as better run blocker than pass blocker. He actually played every position for Tennessee State except center. So Matt Nagy said he likes his explosive. He likes how hard he plays. He's very strong with his hands. A lot of things he got to work on. I don't know what position the Bears are going to. They might use him as a backup guard. They could use him as a backup tackle. There's a lot of things they could do. But I think it's going to be hard for him to make the team this year. I mean, being a 7th round pick, but he does have some upside. He does have some strength. And the Bears wanted more competition on the lineman, and they wanted size up there. Anybody want to speak on Chavious Simmons?
Well, yeah, I saw some film on him. He does look very tenacious. He was throwing guys around, bullying guys around, but he did go to Tennessee State University. There's a very small school, so we see what he do with the big boys.
Yes, 7th round pick. So, the draft is over. That was the Bears' last pick in the draft. But what happens is a lot of guys that didn't get drafted get invites to camps or get signed by teams as undrafted free agents. And it's been a lot of good players that was undrafted free agents that turned out to make themselves a great career in the NFL. So, Dante, is there anybody the Bears signed as an undrafted free agent that you got your eye on?
Most definitely. We finally went with, some more offense, some more skill position guys in the draft besides, the one wide receiver that we picked. This is a guy named Artavis Pierce that you guys are going to learn about very soon. He went to Oregon State. He's a very good back. He was 5'11", about 210. He ran a 4.4 in the 40. He's very versatile. He caught 74 passes career-wise at Oregon State. And he averaged about 5.8 yards a carry. Very explosive. So he can break through tackles and get to the second level. So just with us last year with Montgomery, still a kind of work in progress to me. He only averaged 3.7 yards per carry last year. This is a guy that's going to come in and push him, make him better, because he's very explosive. And they kind of remind me of similar type backs that can, run through tackles and break tackles. So this guy is going to be a very big surprise for us this year. We're still going to use Cohen. Obviously, Cohen's going to be a more situational guy. But Montgomery and this guy Pierce is going to carry the load for us this year in the backfield.
Well, the Bears definitely need us for competition at running back. David Montgomery, he did not show enough last year for whatever reason. You know, some people blame that the offensive line, all these things was going on. Mitch Trubisky, you know, wasn't Matt the play caller. But whatever it was, he did not show enough to say that, okay, we are secure with him. Adi, one of the famous players on the Bears, little brother got drafted. Khalil Mack, little brother, got drafted to the Chicago Bears. Anything you could tell us about Khalil Mack, little brother? Start by, what's his name?
Anyway, Khalil Mack, little brother is his name. I mean, but hey, you know, he was an undrafted free agent, man. The Bears actually didn't draft him. Let me get the man name here, man. Ledarius Mack. Okay, Ledarius Mack. Yeah. He was an undrafted free agent with the Bears. Even though he came off the bench with Buffalo, he went to Buffalo just like his brother. Wore number 52 just like his brother. He came off the bench. He was still second team All Mac for their conference. Okay, and he had 12 tackles for loss, led the team in that. He had 8 sacks. So seems like he was a situational pass rusher for that squad. And it's a long shot for him to make the team, and maybe he'll be better than Isaiah Irvin, okay? And maybe they'll cut Isaiah Irvin and take so he can stop being Khalil Mack, little brother, and we can call him Ledarius Mack. Okay, we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, well, you know, he got picked. I don't know if it was because Khalil Mack was his older brother, but I remember Ledarius Mack. That's his name. You know, Ledarius Mack. All right, so I'll start with you, Dante, on this one. So let's look at the whole perspective of the draft. We seen what Ryan Pace did, no first round picks, traded up, got 3 picks, ended up getting 3 picks in the 5th round, gave up his 6 rounders. Looking at all the players they got and everything that happened in this draft, how do you think the Bears did in this year's draft? I mean, I know it's hard to say before we've seen them play, but just going off what you know about the players and what they need about this draft, how do you think they did?
I think that we did well. I think that we did good overall. I think it is a couple positions going in that we needed to kind of shore up, and we kind of dropped the ball a little bit to me on the offensive line. I think I wanted to address that and get a little bit more of a higher draft pick in that regard, and then also the safety position. I thought that we would get a little bit more of a marquee safety going in. So actually at the time that we got Kmet, we still had some really good safeties that were still on the board. One guy that I liked a lot was Antoine Winfield Jr. I think, you know, picking him up would have went really well with Eddie Jackson. But we did hit Pater with the cornerback that we needed to get. We got a guy that could come in and start. And then we did get some more quality depth at some other positions. And then also the Kmet guy is really going to help us out in the short passing game. It's going to help out Trubisky or Nick Foles as well. So, I think that we did do well overall, but just a couple things that, wish we could have did a little bit better on.
Adi, same question to you, Adi. How did the Bears fare in this draft, in your opinion?
Well, there was some bad and there was some good. I like to start with the bad news first. The thing is, last season with the Bears, they was the 6th worst team in the NFL in rushing yards, 5th worst team in the NFL in rushing TDs, 4th worst team in the league in rushing yards per carry. And what did they do to fix the problem? Nothing. Okay, so you had the man at I'm cool with the tight end. We needed a tight end, but at pick number 50, you had the Florida State running back. Cam Akers was right there. That guy's pretty good. Also, J.K. Dobbins was right there staring at you. You could have took him. So they passed on them guys, and they didn't take a running back until the guy from Oregon State, undrafted free agent kind of guy. So the thing is, I just can't wait to see David Montgomery, because a lot of Bears fans and Ryan Pace really think this dude is an all-pro or something. They think he indestructible. They must, what they think, he can't get hurt or something? Like, what's going on here? So what happens if he gets hurt? Who's gonna start? So it's just unbelievable, and I just can't wait to see what this guy's gonna do. But the good part is we shouldn't have to worry about the cornerback position for a long time. We got like 10 of them. It seems like the Bears just want to fill the roster with cornerbacks and tight ends. That's all they want. All you need is cornerbacks and tight ends, and your team is okay, So, but, I mean, that position, but the defense should be off the chain. I mean, with all the additions, you replace Leonard Floyd with Robert Quinn. You get the Gipson guy to back him up. You got Vildor in the 5th round. He's pretty good. He, like Dante said, he had a good game against Clemson. A big-time team. He went to Georgia Southern. He fell in the draft because he went to a small school. He also played against LSU and Minnesota, and he wasn't pushed around. And no cornerback drafted had more career interceptions than him. He had 9. You know how to play on the ball. So it's going to be nice to see him against Buster Screen, Duke Shelley trying to get that nickel spot. So I am excited about the defense, but the running back situation got me feeling uneasy.
Yeah. I thought it was overall. I thought it was a solid draft, but for what they had, remember they didn't have a 1st round pick, so I thought I thought Cole Kmet, even though he was #1 rated tight end in college football, I felt like he might have been there. The 2nd round, I mean, I was looking at the wide receiver position. There was some great wide receivers that was on the board in the 2nd round that win. I thought the Bears might jump in and say, you know what, let's get the best player available. It doesn't matter. Because there was some wide receivers. I mean, it was Denzel Mills.
Mills from Baylor, man. That boy nice.
It was a lot of, but I do understand because the offense that the Bears run with Matt Nagy, you know, if you look at the Kansas City Chiefs offense, it's the same offense for the most part. Tight end is essential. Your tight end must be good. Like if you don't have a good tight end, the offense really doesn't work. We saw that last year. As much as Mitch sucked, one thing that hurt Mitch was not having a tight end. With Trey Burton, like you say, Adi, whatever happened to him in that playoff game, that changed the whole complexion of the Chicago Bears offense. Whatever happened, that was a big shift and change in their offense. So I do understand the pick. I like the depth they got. Even in the 7th round, I like them taking 2 more offensive tackles to bring competition because that was a weakness last year. So they want to get younger. They want to get stronger down there. And maybe that's a sign that they're going to focus more on running the football. I actually like them getting Darnell Mooney. I think that could end up being a steal in the long run for a 5th round pick with that type of speed, somebody who could blow the top off the defense, get deep. So it was a couple good things. I also like the Trevis Gipson pick as well too. I think he's not finished yet. He's a project, but I think in maybe in a couple years or something, he'll be able to step in and fill in and do something. So for what Ryan Pace had, what he had to offer, he did make some things happen, which I did like. Now, we don't know what it's going to look like until we actually see it on the field, but just looking at the players, looking at the talent level, looking at the attributes they have, they should help the Bears. The defense should be stronger. We'll see about offense. I'm with you, Adi. Maybe they should have got a running back, another running back, but they did get the undrafted Frazier. What's his name, Dante?
Chavious Pierce.
So we'll see how he pans out. You know, running backs, you know, it's been a lot of undrafted running backs that come in and end up having pretty solid careers in the NFL. So hopefully he gives David Montgomery competition. Absolutely. So we shall see. So another draft down the board, 2020 Chicago Bears. Hopefully some of these players will pan out. We know some of them is not going to pan out, but we'll see what happens. You've been watching Spectator Sporting. We want to thank my main man, Dante, for coming over here talking about draft pick scores, man. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Yep. Shout out to Adi, man. It was good, man. Another Zoom quarantine edition of Spectator Sporting. In the meantime, in between time, to the next Zoom session, we out.
No, ain't no Zoom. We're going to meet together next time.
Hopefully. I really hope so, man. I really hope so. Man, I hope we can. So, but yeah, you got to do what you got to do. So hopefully everybody's out there staying safe and do what you got to do so we can get out here and do our show.